You can learn a little about an ancient culture from the things they created. Thousands of years from now, the archaeologists of the future might uncover truths about us by sifting through our abandoned smartphones and laptops. Some of you should probably be nervous about that. Our ancient ancestors didn't have that kind of technology, but the artifacts and objects they left behind are just as revealing. Let's look at some of the most shocking things ever uncovered. Number 15. The Seal of Wulfric. Well, before you think that, the Seal of Wulfric isn't ornate like Charlemagne's talisman, but its importance and mystery are just as profound. It was unearthed in a shed in Sittingbourne, Kent, during a house clearance back in 1976. Despite the humble setting, the item turned out to be an authentic Anglo-Saxon seal matrix, older than the Norman conquest of 1066. Only 5 examples from this period are known to exist, and this is one of just 3 made from walrus ivory. There are some experts who date it to around 1040 to 1050. The inscription around the edges clearly identifies it as belonging to someone named Wulfric. His identity, however, is a mystery. He could be the bearded man depicted on the seal, shown wielding a sword, suggesting he was a secular figure, perhaps a royal advisor. He wasn't a king, and his name doesn't appear in historical records. Still, the seal was worn as a pendant, implying it held personal or political value. Number 14. The Pictish Standing Stone of Angus. The Picts lived in Scotland before, during, and after the Roman occupation of Britain. Not much is known about their daily life or beliefs, but their engraved stones have survived and speak volumes. In 2020, one of the most remarkable of these was uncovered in Angus. Measuring over 5 feet long, it became one of fewer than 200 known Pictish stones. Its location is significant, close to where the Battle of Dun-Nectane took place in 685, when the Picts defeated the Northumbrians. That connection has led some to suggest it may have served as a war memorial, though the markings remain undeciphered. The discovery was made during a preliminary excavation ahead of a wider dig aimed at finding a suspected Pictish settlement. That settlement hasn't yet been located, but this artifact points strongly to its presence. Even without clear translations, the carvings on this stone offer a direct link to a long-lost culture, standing as both an artistic expression and a silent witness to Scotland's early tribal history. Number 13. Pendant of the Holy Thorn. The reliquary pendant for the Holy Thorn dates to around 1340 and was crafted to hold what was believed to be a thorn from Christ's crown of thorns. That thorn likely came from a collection purchased by King Louis IX of France from Baldwin II, who was the powerful Latin emperor of Constantinople. The outer shell of this pendant is set with amethyst, and its inner section is decorated with enamel scenes from Christ's life. One panel may even portray King Philip VI and his queen, Jeanne of Burgundy. The central compartment hides the relic behind a golden leaf. This pendant is just over an inch in size, but it is more than a devotional object. It's a political and symbolic symbol. It reflects the medieval obsession with relics, power, and divine legitimacy. It's art, faith, and statement all in one. Every element, jewel, enamel, thorn, work together to remind its owner of Christ's suffering while quietly asserting their own sacred authority. In simple words, this wasn't just a treasure, it was a display of status, dressed in faith and gold. Number 12. The Buddha Mirror of Cincinnati. This 15th century mirror sits in the Cincinnati Art Museum's collection in the United States. It's been there for years, but it hasn't been displayed publicly since 2017. That changed in July 2022 when East Asian art curator Hume Sung noticed something unusual about it. The mirror turned out to be a magic mirror, a rare type that under intense lighting reveals a hidden image. In this case, it's the figure of a seated Buddha. The image only appears under powerful focused light, suggesting it was either deliberately made difficult to detect or the mirror's reflectivity has faded over time. Now that the hidden Buddha is confirmed, the inscription on the back finally makes sense. It reads Amitabha, a key figure across several ancient East Asian Buddhist traditions. Experts believe this mirror style originated during the Han Dynasty in China over 2,000 years ago, before spreading to Japan. This piece blends religion, optics, and craftsmanship into a single artifact, one that was quietly hiding its secret in plain sight for years. Number 11. Gold rainbow cups in Brandenburg. Back in 2020, archaeologists uncovered a group of 41 small gold coins in the village of Bates, near Brandenburg, Germany. These are the only Celtic coins ever found in that region. Known as rainbow cups, the name comes from a long-standing folk belief that such coins appear in fields after rainbows. These particular examples are smooth and undecorated, which sets them apart from typical Latin-style currency. Despite Brandenburg having no known Celtic settlements, the presence of these coins points to a wide-reaching Iron Age trade route that likely passed through the region. Their simplicity and scarcity make them both puzzling and valuable. Cleaned and removed from the site under strict archaeological protocols, the coins are set to go on display at the Brandenburg State Museum in late 2023. They may be small, but they offer rare insight into how far Celtic culture and trade networks reached, even into areas where no permanent Celtic communities are known to have lived. Their existence rewrites a corner of European history. Number 10. Mongol invasion anchor found in Japan. An underwater discovery near Takashima Island off the coast of Matsura revealed an anchor from a 13th century Mongol warship. Found back in 2013 and measuring roughly 5.6 feet, the wooden anchor weighted by a stick-shaped stone was recovered on October 1, 2022 from 60 feet beneath the sea. It's part of the Mongolian fleet that tried to invade Japan during the Kamakura period in 1274 and 1281. Both campaigns were decimated by violent storms that damaged the armada, playing a key role in Japan's defense. These typhoons were later dubbed kamikaze or divine winds. The anchor's recovery may offer new insight into the Mongol forces, including the size of the fleet and the kinds of vessels they used. Further excavation of the sunken ship is planned, with hopes of developing a full underwater archaeology research center in Matsura. The anchor is a physical link to a pivotal chapter in Japanese history, one where Mother Nature may have done more than armies to preserve the nation's independence. Number 9. The Lecoq Cup. The Lecoq Cup is a silver standing vessel from the mid-15th century that has managed to survive nearly untouched. Let's say it's a rare fate for English medieval silver. At 13 inches tall, it's considered one of the finest remaining pieces of non-religious silverware from the era. Most similar cups were melted down or modified, but this one avoided destruction by being donated to St. Cyriac's Church in Lecoq soon after its creation. Its use later changed following the English Reformation, and by 1962, it found a permanent home at the British Museum. In 2009, the church estimated its value at £1.8 million and filed to sell it. After several legal hurdles, the sale was finalized in 2013 for £1.3 million in a joint deal between the British Museum and the Wiltshire Museum in Devizes. 2 replicas were produced, one for church use, another for local museum display. This isn't just a normal cup, it's a living relic of English history. Number 8. The Last Supper Tapestry. A luxurious version of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper in tapestry form is now on exhibit at the Regia di Venaria in Turin, Italy. This enormous piece, stretching 30 feet in width and 16 feet in height, was commissioned by Louise of Savoy and her son, the future King Francis I of France, around 1514. Woven entirely with silk, gold, and silver threads, it's a nearly identical replica of Leonardo's masterpiece, even preserving his distinctive sumato technique. But instead of the original's dim interior, this version sets the scene in a sunlit courtyard draped with Millefleur-style hangings, complete with arched bridges and vivid stonework. Francis gifted the tapestry to Pope Clement VII in 1533 during a politically charged marriage alliance. The Vatican held it in high regard, using it for key liturgical events like Corpus Christi and Holy Week. Painstakingly restored by Vatican textile conservators, it has only been loaned twice since its arrival. This isn't just art, its woven diplomacy, stitched with faith, power, and royal ambition. Number 7. The Philippe Bouhachet Map of Antarctica. In 1737, French geographer Philippe Bouhachet drafted a map covering the region between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. It showed something that still puzzles historians today: Antarctica, but without its ice. Bouhachet was a theoretical cartographer. He relied on astronomy, travel records, and mathematical projections to map places he never saw firsthand. Despite that, his work accurately outlined the Bering Strait and Alaska long before they were officially documented. That level of precision has raised questions about his Antarctic depiction. Some believe it was a mistake, a guess based on misread data. Others think he might have drawn from ancient sources now lost to time. The map is known today as the Bouhachet map. Its detail is eerily close to modern topographical surveys that use radar to penetrate Antarctica's ice sheet. How Bouhachet knew what the continent looked like beneath miles of ice remains an unresolved mystery. Whether it's coincidence, genius, or evidence of forgotten maritime knowledge, the map continues to provoke debate. What do you think about it? Well, let us know. Number 6. The Live in Felicity vase. Writing basic feel-good phrases on home goods might seem like a modern irritation, but it's not exactly new. Trust us. If slogans like "Live, Laugh, Love" make you cringe, spare a thought for whoever thought this was clever in the 4th century. A vase uncovered back in November 2020 from an ancient burial site in Autun, France, carries an inscription translating to "Live in Felicity" or "Live Happily." So, was it corny? Well, maybe. But the object itself is rare and exquisite. It's a diatretic glass vase, the only intact example of its kind ever discovered in France, once part of the Roman province of Gaul. Even including fragmented finds, only 10 such vases are known globally, and none have surfaced since the 1970s. Its survival highlights just how far ahead Roman glassmakers were in terms of both design and technique. While the message feels oddly modern in its banality, the vessel's construction reflects technical skill and artistic flair that stood leagues ahead of its time. Number 5. The Ring of Titus Carvilius Gemello. This 2,000-year-old engraved crystal gem was found in the Flavio-Terganic tomb, also called the Hypogeum of Garlands, near Rome. It was found on the finger of a Roman noblewoman named Abetia Quarta. Inside the underground chapel, archaeologists discovered 2 marble coffins carved with the names of the deceased Gemello and Quarta. Both bodies were incredibly well preserved thanks to embalming. Gemello's remains, known as the Mummy of Rome, were wrapped in a shroud and blanketed with floral garlands. Abetia was dressed in a mantle made of hundreds of miniature wreaths, with her head covered by a gold-threaded netted wig tied into a braid. On her finger was a gold ring set with a cabochon rock crystal bezel. Inside it, a male bust was finely sculpted on a tiny relief sheet, creating a glowing, almost holographic effect. As of now, this ring is on display at the Museo Archeologico Nazionale de Palestrina. Number 4. The orichalcum ingots of Gela. A sunken ship off the coast of Gela, Sicily, yielded a cargo that reignited one of history's oldest myths. In 2020, marine archaeologists recovered dozens of metal ingots from the seafloor, 76 in total. Testing revealed they were made of orichalcum, a rare alloy mentioned by Plato as second in value only to gold and supposedly found only in Atlantis. The shipwreck dates back 2,600 years, and researchers believe the ingots were headed for Gela's workshops, which were known for producing high-end ornamental items. Before this find, orichalcum was dismissed as legend, but metallurgical studies show it's a real alloy typically made from zinc, copper, and trace elements. Whether this discovery has any real connection to Atlantis is still up for debate. What's certain is that it gives orichalcum a firm historical context. These bars weren't mythical, they were material. That shift alone gives weight to stories long thought exaggerated and adds substance to the idea that ancient trade networks may have been far more expansive than believed. Number 3. The Pictish Padlock of Glen Shee. A rusted Pictish padlock was unearthed in 2020 at the Lair archaeological site in Glen Shee. Its very presence challenges long-held assumptions. Traditionally, this area was believed to have housed poor Pictish farmers with few belongings worth protecting, but a padlock implies otherwise. It was likely made between the 6th and 11th centuries, though its exact date remains uncertain. The object is simple in design but suggests that someone in the settlement had possessions they deemed worth securing. It's possible the padlock was used to lock animal enclosures, though that doesn't align with finds at other Pictish sites across the country. Padlocks themselves aren't commonly tied to this culture. Most artifacts found here have been tools or household items, not security devices. This small piece of iron disrupts the picture of a modest rural community, hinting that wealth, or at least personal property, played a larger role than previously thought. It suggests there was more complexity to this supposed backwater than records have shown. Number 2. The ancient ball courts of Oaxaca. Archaeologists working in Mexico's mountainous Oaxaca region found 2 ancient ball courts in 2017, pushing the known history of Mesoamerican sports back centuries. Built nearly 3,650 years ago, the courts predate all previously known examples by over 800 years. They were built with stone floors and surrounded by mud mounds where spectators once stood. Their layout loosely looks like today's basketball courts, but the gameplay was very different. Participants used only their hips and torsos to keep a solid rubber ball in motion. Evidence suggests the game carried religious or political weight. Additional finds at the site hint at something darker. The losing team may have faced ritual execution. While versions of the game continued in later Aztec and Maya civilizations, this early example shows how deep-rooted and violent the tradition may have been. The discovery rewrites the timeline of organized sport in the Americas and shows that what began as ritual competition also served as a stage for power, belief, and sacrifice. Number 1. King Henry VIII sits, sword from the Pope. A masterfully crafted sword with silver plating, a crystal-studded handle, and a cross-shaped hilt designed to hold a relic, believed to be a fragment of St. Peter's bone, was presented to King Henry VIII of England in 1521 by Pope Leo XX. The gift acknowledged Henry's military action in France to suppress heresy and his authored defense of Catholic doctrine in defense of the 7 sacraments. This publication earned him the title Defender of the Faith. While ceremonial in nature and not meant for battle, the sword surely had a special place in Henry's personal armory, given his fondness for symbolic weapons, even after his eventual break from the Catholic Church. The piece now resides at the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England. It carries layers of political, religious, and personal significance, a tangible reminder of when King Henry was still aligned with Rome. Whether or not it saw action, the sword's history makes it one of the more iconic diplomatic gifts of the 16th century. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.